Hey y'all, hey, welcome to my very first Get Ready With Me as well as Power Recap. Now, I decided to do this because I watch Power and I know a lot of you guys do too, and I don't really have that much people to talk about it with, so I just decided like, why not just, document me getting ready for my makeup and also, talk about Power while I'm at it. So I could kill two birds with one stone. You guys can see how I do my face and we could just talk and you guys could leave your opinions and we could just go back and forth about this episode because this episode that just aired was one of the best episodes that ever happened with the spinoff of Power, in my opinion. Like, this was a great episode. Let's just leave it at that. This was a great episode. We're gonna get into it. And excuse my room. Like, I just moved, and anybody who knows how moving is, like, it's like a pain. Like a pain. And shout out to Mac and Ulta Beauty. Neither of them has sponsored this video, but what I'm doing is speaking it into existence, speaking it in the air. So hopefully one of these days they will be sponsoring my video. So who knows? We'll see. Anyways, so Power, it started off with the court scene with Tariq. So he's on trial for killing Detective Ramirez and the professor Jabari Reynolds. Now, us as the viewers, we know that he killed Jabari Reynolds. Like, that's not news to us. But he's on trial for killing Detective Ramirez, and he didn't even do that. Kane did that. And I feel like Kane did that because he was jealous of Detective Ramirez and his mom's relationship, and he just wanted to X the middleman out. Now, before I get started with anything, let's just say that, honestly speaking, Kane is the reason why a lot of this stuff is happening. Because if Kane wasn't so adamant and acting like a big baby, throwing these temper tantrums, the family wouldn't be in half the situations, nor would Tariq be in half the situations that they end up in. But I digress, because a show is a show. I guess we need the drama somewhere. It starts off with a court scene, and the prosecution is getting in on Tariq. They have tons of circumstantial evidence, not to mention the gun that was used to kill Ramirez is also the gun that they found right next to Jabari's body. Which, of course, we as the viewers, we know that that was Tariq's idea, but Tariq had no idea that Kane planned to plant the badge in his room. So, of course, if Tariq would have known that, he would have never said, oh yeah, let's pair the bodies together. But I mean, Tariq should have been smarter, because since day one, Kane has made it obviously clear that he has no like for Tariq. But I guess Tariq didn't care. I guess Tariq trusted him because they were in a tough situation, and Tariq just thought since they're both in the game, he wouldn't dare do that to me. But Tariq was sadly mistaken, because it was Kane the whole time. Kane was the one that was plotting on you, and Kane is the reason why you're on trial right now and you don't have custody. So anyways, the prosecution is on Tariq, and they are trying to say, okay, well, we have a recording of Tariq admitting that he knew about the novel that Jabari Reynolds was writing before he killed him. Meaning, so us as the viewers, we know that they're talking about the recording that Lauren had, because Lauren was wearing a wire. The wire that Carrie Milgram made her wear. Just gonna make sure my eyebrows is cute and full. Of course, Davis is a crook. We all know that, but I'm not gonna lie. Davis is a pretty good lawyer. So Davis was like, when they tried to bring the recording up in the trial, Davis was like, first of all, we didn't know about the recording, and defense has the right to know about every piece of evidence that comes up in the trial, so that we could prepare for cross-examination, which is very true. If you watch the law shows like I do, that is very true. You have to at least have some type of knowledge as defense. You can't just be bringing up surprise guests in the courtroom. We gotta know so we could ask them some questions too. So Tariq is like, I don't know who this could be. I haven't talked to anybody about the case like you told me not to. Bear with me, guys. This would be such a better setup next time. It's just like I said, I just moved and it's a lot going on. So he's like, I haven't talked to anybody in the trial. I don't know who it could be, yada, yada, blah, blah. So then the judge, I forgot to mention, but the judge had told Davis, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and suspend the trial for now, and then we'll let you listen to the evidence, but the evidence cannot be heard by Tariq St. Patrick because, in their mind, Tariq is a murderer, and, he has all these bodies attached to them, so they don't want anything to happen to their witness, rightfully so. So, and then of course, Tariq is completely oblivious that it's even Lauren at this point. It cuts to the next scene, and the next scene is pretty much Effie and Brayden trying to get a new connect, because their connect, as we seen in the last episode, their connect is no longer working with them. They lost their connect, and Tariq needs a way to pay Davis, and so they're looking for a new connect so that they can go ahead and like get some money and get the ball rolling. So I guess Brayden knew somebody, and the person that Brayden knew was not an okay connect, because Effie tasted it and she was just like, because our clients have expensive taste. So I don't even know what you're bringing up to us right now. Like, this is not even worth us trying to sell. And then Brayden was just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Like, Tariq's gonna be so mad. We need to connect, blah, blah, blah. Effie is like, no, I would rather Tariq have a good product than for us to be just giving him anything, Which was a great decision on her end, because when Tariq came back home, she told him what happened, and he was like, good thing we didn't get from him. We didn't buy from him. Because, Brayden is very impulsive. I realized that about him. Like, everybody's like, oh my gosh, Ghost and Tommy is just like Brayden and Tariq. And in some ways, I see that, because Brayden is very impulsive. Like, versus Tariq, he thinks about the bigger picture. So that was a great call on Effie's end, because later on in the episode, it shows that, like, Tariq was just like, yeah, good job. Like, I would have not wanted that horrible, like, anyway. Like, I want to sell good stuff too. And, if we start selling bad product, then people are going to stop coming to us to buy product. So that was a great choice on her end. So anyways, at this point, Tariq is still at the courthouse, and Ghost's lawyer comes up to him, and he's just like, Tariq's like, did my dad like pay you to follow me around? And he was like, no, he didn't, but I just wanted to let you know that your dad put into place that Yasmin will be adopted. She's about to get adopted by another family. It's like, what do you mean adopted by another family? Like, I just want custody. But then he was just like, you want custody because at the time you weren't involved with anything like regarding this, but like now you're being accused of murdering 2 people. So yeah, your custody is revoked. Like, I don't know what you thought. And then that's when he was just like, also, your dad had put into place that, if Yasmin was to ever get adopted, that her last name be changed so that nobody, like, off of your actions would be looking for her, and her life wouldn't be in danger. Which was a smart move on Ghost's part, honestly speaking. He was doing what a father would do. And I feel like I get that Tariq is upset about it or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I have, like, every time something bad happens to Tariq, I literally have no remorse. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that killed your dad for no reason. And I'm sure he regretted it every single day and every single time that passes by that he doesn't have his dad's support and his dad to fall back on. Like, he was mad at his dad for not taking the fall about him shooting, I forgot who he shot in Power. He was mad at his dad for not taking the fall, but look, now you're taking the fall for everything, versus your dad could have been helped you out with most of this stuff. You feel me? We all know who coming up to him next. It is Mr. Davis, his lawyer. And he's just like, man, like, what do you know about this recording that is apparently out here, that they're saying that you admitted to knowing about the book? Like, you should have at least told us. And he's like, bro, I haven't been talking to nobody. I don't know who that could be. And that's when he was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take a listen and try to get you out of this one, blah, blah, blah. But before I do that, where's my money? Because I don't see it. Tariq, like I said, they lost the connect. So Tariq don't got no money. So he looking like, oh, well, just please give me some time. It's a lot going on, blah, blah. But, we all know Davis do not care about none of that. Davis, one thing about it and 2 things for sure, that man is all about his money, as he should be. I mean, rightfully so. He's not no Proctor, And honestly speaking, Tariq, it's your fault that Proctor is dead too, because you helped set up his murder. So he's not no Proctor. So he wants his money. He's not loyal to you or anything that got to do with you. He's loyal to his money. And so Davis is like, yeah, so you got XYZ amount of time. I forgot what amount of time he said. He's like, you got XYZ amount of time to go ahead and pay me my money because I'm not playing with you. Like, I'm not playing with you, period. So now Tariq is like stressing. We go to the Tejada's house. So like it goes back to the Tejada's place of residence. And Monet and Diana have a little back and forth or whatever. And then Monet's like, her phone starts ringing, and that's when her phone is blowing up. I think it was actually like ringing through text messages, like ding, ding, ding. And she's like, dang, like who's that? Like somebody blowing up your phone. And she's like, well, if you must know, Monet lying at, if you must know, it's Zeke's agent, and they calling me up, they blowing me up, yada yada. So then, of course, remember last episode, Diana had seen the text message come from a D. So we as the viewers, we know D is also Mecca, which is also the connect. But of course, Diana, she doesn't have the capability to put that two and two together. We gotta make sure we got full coverage. So while she's talking on the phone, she's talking to Dante, which is his name. Diana overhears it. So she's like at the door, she overhears it. And as Mecca, as we know him, as Mecca's on the phone with Monet, he's looking at this ring that he plans to give her. Cause he's in love with her. He don't care what she got to say. Cause she's like, I'm done with you. I don't want to do this no more. But he don't care what she got to say. He's like, okay, like I said, I'm gonna still pursue you because you're my girl. Like you're my girl since we were 16. I'm gonna still pursue you. At the same time as he's on the phone while he's looking at this ring that he plans to give her, here come Kane. And then when Kane comes, he like jumps up and like, acts like somebody suspicious, but she is. And then Kane just like acts like he didn't see anything, but Kane saw the ring. So like that's two people peeping stuff. You know what I mean? I think Monet went to go somewhere, go see somebody. So Diana being her, I'm not gonna lie. Lately, ever since Lorenzo done came home, Miss Diana has been super curious. She wants to know all the tea. It's like, girl, you need to stay in the child's place. Honestly, like you being disrespectful a little bit. But Diana, she's trying to know the truth. She's not playing. She want to know the truth. She done with her mama. I mean, and I guess rightfully so, because her mama has been treating them like children this whole time. So I guess like after a while, you do get sick of it, and you're just like, you know what? I don't even like you like that. You've been whooping us, choking us, calling us all types of stupid, and I'm gonna find something on you. So Diana goes into the room. She looks around. She looking through all her Gucci bags, all of that, all Louis Prada Gucci, all of that. And she finds a Bible. And in the Bible, it has a hospital like written in, like once you open the Bible, there's a hospital written in it. So she goes through the Bible and she's like flipping through the pages. And as she flips through the pages, she finds a baby picture. So she flips the baby picture around, obviously, just to see, who is this? Because it's not me. It's not my brothers. Like, so who is this? So behind the picture, it says Ezekiel Cross. So Diana being Diana, she's like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and try to call the hospital that she sees in the front. She's like, let me just go ahead and try to call the hospital. So she's like, hey there, I'm looking for Ezekiel Cross for 2002. And I guess they tell her, there's no Ezekiel Cross for 2002. Because she's like, there's no Ezekiel Cross for 2002. And that's where that scene ends. The next scene is Kane, Tariq, Effie, Brayden, and Monet meeting up. And they need a plan because they now have no connect. Like they need a plan to try to, get a new connect, get some products so they can sell on the side because, Monet is trying to get away from her husband Lorenzo and she's done, you feel me? So she's trying to get away from her husband Lorenzo. Kane is feeling outed by his dad Lorenzo because he feels like his dad came back from jail and then automatically led Drew into everything. So he's feeling betrayed. So he's like on his mama's side now. And of course, Tariq needs money to pay his lawyers, and Brayden and Effie is Tariq's ride or dies. So they come together, and Tariq's bright idea is to rob the Connect. Now, Kane is like, oh, we can't rob no Connect. We can't rob the Connect. Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is? Rightfully so, because if I was Kane, I wouldn't think that was a smart idea either, especially being that Kane is the closest person to Mecca. So it's like, if anything, if Mecca's gonna suspect anything, he's gonna suspect Kane. Like, come on, obviously speaking, but honestly speaking, during that whole meeting, if you ask me, Kane had way too much to say, because at the end of the day, Kane, we're all here because of you. Like, had you not planted that evidence in Tariq's room, like, nobody's name would have possibly been coming up in this trial. Like, your name wouldn't possibly be coming up in this trial. But because you hated Tariq so much, you put everybody else that is affiliated with Tariq, including yourself, in danger. So anyways, they make a plan to rob him. So Tariq's like, well, Lil Guap from G2G, and then make it look like that G2G did it. So you as him talking to Kane, he was like, you need to go talk to Guap or Lil Guap, whatever you call him, and tell him to help us out with this. Like, make him feel like he in the loop, because at the end of the day, Lil Guap is gonna do whatever you tell him to do. So boom, that's their plan. They're sticking to it, and that's what they plan to do. They plan to rob Mecca. That is the plan. So they go to Drew. So Kane and Monet, Kane and Monet, they go to Drew, and they're just like, yeah, this is the plan. We're gonna rob the Connect. Of course, Drew was like, that's such a stupid idea. And honestly, like I said, it is. Like, I really wouldn't have done that. But hey, it's a show, right? So he's like, that's a stupid idea. And that's when Kane was like, I mean, I know you wanna, dead this G2G anyway, because he killed your, he shot at your significant other. And I feel like he shot him too, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember correctly, I think he shot him as well. So, boom. Drew's like, wait, because he was like, oh, all you gotta do is come with us, and I'll take the shot. And then Drew's like, well, honestly, the only way I'll come with you guys is if I take the shot, if I shoot this guy. So boom, he's on board. So everybody's happy. So the plan's underway, and they're on their way to go rob Mecca. So before we get to that scene, because that was a pretty deep scene, before we get to that scene, the scene cuts back to Tariq in the office with Davis. And he's just like, yeah, I have this evidence here, but I can't play it for you. And then that's when Tariq was like, well, why did you bring me here? And he was like, bro, if I play this for you, like, I will be disbarred. My whole, firm will be, literally not credible at all. Like, I cannot play this for you. Then he goes and he says, anyways, I have to go check on a dinner reservation. And Tariq's like, man, can't that wait till afterwards? And that's when he just looks at Tariq like, and he keeps walking. And that's when Tariq puts two and two together, like, okay, so I have to press the space bar. Boom, Tariq presses the space bar, and he remembers exactly the time and place he was at when this conversation took place. And he knows exactly whose voice is on the other end. It doesn't take a genius to know. It's Lauren. Like, Lauren is the one that set him up, and Lauren was wearing a wire. So boom. He gets upset. He gets up and storms off. Like, he's mad. Like, he mad. We all know he mad. He gets up and storms off. So then, as soon as he gets up and storms off, here goes Sax. Like, hey, we got to make sure you don't do anything St. Patrick-y to these witnesses. And that's when he was like, bro, like, how can she do this to me? Like, I can't believe it. And he was like, well, she didn't do it. It was her prosecution. Carrie And he says, oh. But I feel like he did that on purpose. He wanted Tariq to know it was Carrie Milgram, because he knows Tariq didn't kill the police officer. Now, he's not sure about Jabari, but he knows for a fact Tariq didn't kill the officer. So right now, Tariq is on Sax's side. Anyways, so we cut to another scene with Sax having sex with the prosecution, because, they have a little fling on the down low that nobody else knows about but Davis. And he's just like, yeah. Tariq's girlfriend, I think he asked, oh, why aren't we more serious, blah, blah. She's like, why would we be more serious? Like, open arguments was today, and we're, like, on opposite sides. Like, that doesn't even make sense. He was like, I know, but Tariq's going to be really upset when he finds out that his girlfriend was the one who ratted him out. And she was like, how do you know that was Tariq's girlfriend? Like, the math is not mathing. And he was like, well, I heard the tape, and when I heard the tape, I put two and two together. But, she put two and two together as the prosecution. She was like, did y'all let Tariq listen to this tape? And he was like, I can't confirm or deny. I can't confirm or deny. And when I was watching that, I was just like, bro, why don't you just say no? You feel me? But I guess Sax isn't a liar. Like, as we all know, even though as a show, like, we're just, like, on the criminal side, but Saxe has never been a liar. Like, he's never been a dirty cop. He's always done things by the book. So Saxe is like, well, I can't confirm or deny this, blah, blah. So she gets panicked. She's like, you need to get out, blah, blah. But then, so when I was watching the scene, I was upset because I was just like, why would Saxe not just say no? You feel me? Like, why would he put Tariq now in the crossfire? Because wouldn't Tariq get in trouble for listening to the tape? And then I thought about it. And I was just like, you know what? Saxe probably did that on purpose because he knew that Lauren had the incriminating evidence by wearing the wire. So if, Lauren isn't on the stand to take the stand, then now somebody else can take the stand in his place. So boom, fast forward to the next day. Because remember so I have to go back a little bit, because when Saxe was telling Tariq not to do anything too St. Patrick-y, Tariq was like, well, how can I not do that? I have class with both of them tomorrow morning. So the next morning it cuts to Jenny, which is the prosecution, blowing up Carrie's phone. And Carrie's in class, she's talking about, truth this and truth that. Honestly speaking, Carrie is fake. Carrie is fake. Like, I used to like Carrie, I used to root for Carrie until she started being grimy towards Tariq just to save her butt. And she manipulated Lauren to wear that wire, because I feel like if it wasn't for Carrie, Lauren wouldn't have worn that wire. And honestly, Lauren is a little stupid too, because just because you got caught with a couple pills in your dorm room that you share with somebody else doesn't mean that you're gonna automatically get prosecuted for drugs. But yet she let Carrie get into her mind and make her seem like she's gonna go to jail for life for these drugs if she doesn't turn on Tariq, which was messed up. That's why I'm just like, personally, for me, Carrie's a dub, because she really manipulated that girl. At this point, Carrie looks at her phone and she realizes that Jenny has been trying to call her. And then that's when Jenny's just like, hey, just want to let you know that Tariq heard the tape. And she's like, what do you mean Tariq heard the tape, blah, blah. And she was just like, oh, well, I'm not gonna lie to you. He definitely heard the tape. Like, I don't think he did. I know he did. Like, he heard the tape. So now she comes back in the room. She's like, yeah, I gotta go. It's a family emergency. Gotta go. So she leaves, and then she runs straight to Lauren's room, but Lauren's room's already cracked open a little bit. Now she walks inside and she sees Tariq. Now, how Tariq got inside, the jury is still out on that. Like, I really don't know how Tariq got inside, because like, that was some scary stuff. I was like taken aback as a viewer, because I really thought she was gonna go in there and talk to Lauren. But she's like, Tariq, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? But Carrie fake. I was like, oh my gosh, Tariq, what are you doing here? I'm not. And Tariq's like, the same reason why you're here. Yeah, to check on Lauren's safety. And why did you convince her to wear a wire? Because you're her prosecution, blah, blah. And that's when Tariq, she tried to manipulate Tariq, because she's very manipulative. Like, honestly speaking, if it comes out later that she manipulated Zeke into sleeping with her, I really wouldn't be surprised, because she has a way with her words and making it seem like she cares. But I'm starting to realize that all along she's really out for her best interest. Like, she's not worried about Zeke or, to be honest, anybody. Tariq, Lauren, like, she worried about herself and trying to make sure she stay out of jail, which I'm not sure why she's so pressed about anyway, because if you didn't do it, if I know I didn't do it, I would have been chilling. And if I knew that I've been sleeping with the lead detective on this case, and by the lead detective, I'm referring to Kevin Whitman. If I knew that I've been sleeping with the lead detective on the case, I would not be worried at all, because there's no way you can put me in jail. It's very clear and obvious that you're just jealous and you're upset that I moved on, and now you're trying to pin me on this guy's murder. So why would I be worried? But they let these cops get them frazzled or whatever. And I'm talking like I'm just so used to being with cops. I'm not used to dealing with cops, but it's just like, you just got to know the law, And like, there's a power dynamic. There's there's just too much. So anyways, Tariq convinces her to go and take the stand in Lauren's place. Of course, Tariq was doing it to save himself, but I really do feel like he was low-key doing it to save Lauren as well. Because what Tariq was saying was true. Like, if Lauren takes the stand, it's not Tariq they got to be worried about. They got to be worried about Kane coming after her, because at the end of the day, she was wearing the wire when Kane was in the room with Brayden. Like, they could all leave everything she did with the wire back to Kane. And the Tejada family, they're going to take that as Lauren is a snitch. Point blank, period. They're not going to take that as oh, she was wearing a wire just to... No, they're gonna be like, Lauren is a snitch. And she almost, shut down the course correct, like she's a snitch. So she was like, oh, you're right. So she decides the next morning to tell Jenny and to come forward. Oh, but I knew of Tariq prior, knowledge of the book, blah, blah. And then Jenny's just like, well, why didn't you tell me this sooner? But we're gonna try to get you on the stand instead. So, boom. Fast forward to her on the stand. She's looking at Tariq, making it look real obvious that they in cahoots, but she's just like, yeah, Tariq knew like one or 2 days before Reynolds was killed that he was writing a book about him, or whatever the case may be. So then Davis gets up to cross-examine. Now, we didn't know how hard Davis was going to come at her, but Davis came at her hard. And I'm thinking Davis was just going to talk about, the little stuff, but no, Davis said, oh yeah, because don't the court, as the jury, don't you know that she had a relationship with the professor, and she had a relationship with the teammate Ezekiel Cross, and did you guys know that she had a relationship with the lead detective Kevin Whitman, and did you guys know that she had a sexual relationship with me? And she had no choice but to admit that yes, we had sexual relations. So now the jury looking at her like, but honestly speaking, it's what she deserves, because had she been minding her business, then David would not have had a reason to come and just get really like buck with her like that, And the next scene is them. Gotta get my eyelashes on. The next scene is them pretty much preparing to rob Mecca. So, honestly speaking, the whole time the scene was going on, like, my heart was racing because Mecca don't play. Like, Mecca don't play. It's just that simple. So Kane is in Mecca's house. And of course, us as the viewers at this point, we don't know like what the plan is. So we're just going to see this play out. So all we see is Effie, Braden, and the G2G member Guap and Drew. I was like, who else was in the car? And Drew, they was in the car just, I guess, waiting on a signal. So I guess the plan was, like, Guap had told his G2G crew, like, hey, y'all need to go into the warehouse and rob, like, try to get the pills or whatever. But pretty much Effie turned off the power to the building. When Effie turned off the power to the building, that's when the G2G members went in the warehouse and started selling product. When they started going to steal product, that's when the chef had went downstairs and was like, because when the power went off, Mecca's like, that's kind of weird. Go downstairs, see what's going on. So that's when the chef goes downstairs and he sees people stealing. So then he says, hey, somebody's robbing us. Then all of Mecca's bodyguards come downstairs. The shooting fight occurs. Most of G2G's members is down. But, they're fighting back, of course. So most of Mecca's people are down too. And a G2G member is able to leave with the product. Boom. The G2G member leaves with the product. And that's when Braden uses his white privilege to get them to check, because he's like, my PS5 isn't working. This isn't making no sense. You need to go check it out right now, or I'll sue you guys, blah, blah. While he does that, Effie goes in the back. She gets some keys from this lady by lying and saying, oh my gosh, my grandma, she fell and this, and that. Like, these people are some master criminals. Like, all jokes aside, like, they're some pretty good criminals. Here I am as the viewer thinking that Drew and Guap are, like, I'm thinking as a viewer, they're done with the robbery. Like, they got the pills from the warehouse, like they said they needed, and they were done. But I guess the plan was to keep robbing. So they planned to go upstairs to where Mecca actually lived and rob him too. So, Drew and Guap, they're going up the stairs and they talking, and Guap's like, I like the way y'all put me on and this and that. Like, showing him his appreciation. And then he gives Drew some money, and I forgot what else he gave him, but he for sure gave him money. And then Drew was like, that money was mine anyway. And that's when Drew goes to pick up the gun, and that's when he's like, oh, really? You gonna do this or whatever? Or like, who you doing this for? And he was like, Drew was like, I'm doing this for me. Which is so stupid. Like, my thing is, if you're, like, gonna kill somebody, like, that's what kills me about TV sometimes. Like, if you're gonna kill somebody, like, let's stop with the talking. Let's go ahead and kill. Because while Drew was doing all that talking, Bob was like, doop, and smacked the gun right out of his hand. They start fighting. And literally, all of that could have been avoided had you just shot him and kept it pushing. Like, that was your original plan anyway, it was just to shoot him. So it's just like, why are you talking? Like, what are you talking for? Like, he knows y'all got beef. Like, he knows that y'all got prior beef. That's why he gave y'all the money. So it's just like, what are you doing talking? A fight ensues. Drew almost lost. I'm not gonna lie to you. Drew almost lost. And then that's when he gets on top of him, and he's just like, mind you, the gun is nowhere in sight. He's like, you don't got it in you. You don't got it in you. I'm not gonna lie, Drew's really sat there and strangled that man to death, and he showed that he really got it in him. So boom, it shows Drew going in the house, starts looking around, I guess seeing what they came to rob or whatever the case may be, and simultaneously, Mecca's like, oh, chef, go upstairs, get the strap, we finna, because while they were getting robbed, and while they were made aware that the warehouse was being robbed, Kane was like, I'm not gonna lie. Tells Mecca this. He was like, this lights off thing looks like something that I did to G2G once. Like, it just looks too familiar. Which was stupid, number one. Because now you're making it noticeable that this is like your thing. Like, your thing is clearly to rob people by turning their lights off and stuff like that. Like, he just, in my opinion, Kane just made it way too noticeable that he was a part of all of this, you know? Simultaneously, Mecca's in the warehouse and he's like, chef, go upstairs, get all the straps, because when they go downstairs, they see all of G2G's dead bodies, like, laying all on the floor or whatever. So he's like, go upstairs, get all the straps, because that's what the chef was doing before they got robbed anyway. Before the power went out, that's what the chef was doing anyway, was just getting all the straps. So he's like, go get all the straps. We finna make it rain on these hoes, because they playing with us. So Kane is like, oh, no, can I go do it? Which was stupid, number two, because now you look too eager. Like, he didn't tell you to go do it. He told the chef to go do it. So now you look too eager to go do something that he didn't tell you to do, which puts you more like on the suspect list in his mind, like for who would rob him. You know what I mean? So boom, chef goes upstairs, and Drew already went in. He got the ring. Not only did he get the ring, but he got like the same, like the bag that was in the area of the ring as well. He got that as well. So Drew was just minding his business, like la la la, just knowing ain't nothing gonna happen to him, because the plan was, according to Kane apparently, that nobody's gonna be in the house. Like, he would have already been looking and searching for whoever robbed him, so nobody should be in the house at this point. So imagine Drew's surprise when the chef walked all up in the house, started looking for the guns, or whatever the case may be. So Drew, because at that point Drew was gonna walk out, but he hides in the closet, and in the closet is what? More guns. Like, is more guns. So now I'm sure Drew is worried. And while all of this is happening, Drew texted Kane and was like, bro, you said nobody was gonna be in the house. What the F? And then Diana is at home. Poor Diana. She's at home worried, like, damn, why ain't nobody answering my calls? Ain't nobody picking up? Like, where is everybody? Where's everybody at? If y'all hear the music in the back, that's definitely my neighbors. So YouTube, please don't take this video down thinking it's me trying to copyright some music. It's definitely my neighbors. So Diana is calling Kane. So Kane declines the call, but he picks up he declines it, but he picks up the receiver as if he's like taking the call. He's like, hello? Yeah, what's up? Because he saw the text, and he knows, Kane doesn't need Drew to text him. Kane was there, so he knows the chef is going back to the house. So Kane was like, oh yeah, I'll be right there. And he leaves the warehouse. He runs to Mecca's apartment, runs upstairs, and was like, hey, chef, Mecca said do XYZ. And then the chef's like, bro, I know Mecca. Like, he would have told me. Like, this not seeming fishy. This seemed real fishy. But while he's like, whoa, but wait. And while he's distracting him, Drew's able to get out the door. Drew gets out the door. Braden, is like, where's Guap? And he's just like, just drive. He drives. The robbery is a success. So the next scene is the most explosive scene in Power history, if you ask me. Because, I know if you guys watch Power, you guys have been seeing on the Twitterverse that everybody's like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until this person finds out this and this person finds out this. And that's exactly what happened in this dinner scene. Like, everybody's secrets came out. And everybody's secrets came out because it started with Diana telling the father that Cain went against the family in the first place by sugaring the cocaine so that he could be their new connect. And that's when Monet got mad. But Monet got mad and acting like Tariq didn't already tell her that a couple episodes ago. But hey, I digress. So then the father was like, really, you went against your family? You went against your family? And that's when Cain's like, really, you gonna do this? You gonna do this? And Diana's like, yep. That's when everybody's secrets start coming out. I forgot what order it was, but he was like, oh, well, that's you mad at me, but you're not saying nothing because Drew was supposed to kill Everett, and he still ain't killed Everett. And that's when Drew's looking like, well, dang. So everybody's secrets start coming out. Next person's secret that come out is, Monet was like, oh, well, you having sex with Tariq. And that's when she's like, oh, well, you said you was going here, but you having sex with Tariq. And that's when she was like, well, Diana's like, well, I'm not the only person having sex with somebody I'm not supposed to have sex with. Then she drops the bomb and she pulls out, I'm not sure which order this is going in. I'm like really just going off of memory. But she pulls out the bomb that says that Zeke isn't born in 2002, like she's been telling everybody. Like Monet's been telling everybody that Zeke is born in 2002. So she drops that bomb. She's like, well, I called the hospital and they said that Zeke isn't born in 2002. And that's when he was like, Auntie, is this true? And she's like, she's not your auntie. That's your mom. And she drops the birth certificate and she's like, read it right now. And lo and behold, Zeke is not only born in 1998, but Monet is his mom and his father is Dante, the same person that he met at the park. So all the blame is shifted off of everybody else. Like that was the biggest, bombshell. Like everybody was shocked at that. Like nobody was even worried about the fact that, Cain betrayed the family and this and that. Like everybody was looking at Monet like, really? Because you lied to us. Like Cain's like, I'm not your oldest son. Zeke is like, oh my gosh, Auntie, have you been lying to me this whole time? And then Zeke, honestly, his main thing's like, oh, that means I like broke the rules for like the football thing, I guess. If you know me, like I'm not really that good with sports. I think it's called the NCAA. And he was like, that means they're going to think I lied about my age and for the draft and this and that. And, the whole time you lied. And Zeke just goes and leaves. That's when Lorenzo kicks her out. Like Lorenzo's like, is this true? And she just has no choice but to say yes. Because like at this point, Diana has approved. So at this point, she has no choice but to say yes. And that's when Lorenzo kicks her out. And the whole family just watching her walk out because, girl, you done lied to all of us. Not just Zeke, but you lied to all of us about who this man is. Like, he's our brother this whole time. Cain thinking he the oldest. When you could have just told the truth from jump. Like, who would have judged you? But I don't know. I guess they'll go into the backstory of why she did that later on in the series. But for now, it's just like, girl, why is you lying? Like, you lied this whole time. And you're just not trustworthy, but you always talking about family. Like, that's how it looks, Well, Zeke worried about, yeah, that means they're going to think I lied about the draft or whatever. So he's worried about his draft career or whatever. Which my thing is, you need to be worried about this lady that lied and said that she was your auntie this whole time, but the whole time she was your mama. That's what you need to be worried about while you're worried about the draft. You need to be worried about that. But I guess to each his own, child. So Zeke leaves, he runs away. Monet leaves, she's trying to call Zeke. Zeke's not answering the phone. Whatever. We get back to the GTGs, like G2Gs. G2Gs, I think that's what they call them. We get back to the G2Gs hangout spot. And Mecca's just pretty much bodying everybody. Because, you don't try Mecca. That's why when they said they was going to go and rob Mecca, I was really like, that's not smart at all. Because Mecca don't play. And everybody who is around Mecca knows that Mecca don't play. So Cain should have really just deaded that. Like, I get that y'all need the money, but Cain really should have been like, listen, Mecca don't play. And then they should have just left it at that. Like, they should have never kept trying to pursue that. Because now it's pretty obvious, like, I don't know, in my opinion, it's pretty obvious that, like, you being Cain just tried to rob me. So they killed the G2Gs, but they didn't find their product there. So who's there with them is Cain and the chef. So that's when the chef's like, oh, well, none of their products here. Can't find any of your product. Mecca was just like, oh, really? Well, time to kill the inside man. And then he looks at Hayne, he looks at the chef, and he just slices the chef's neck just like that. The chef's like gagging everything. And he just slices the chef's neck, like no remorse. Like this man has been working with him forever, I would assume, because the chef knew everything. And he just really sliced his neck. And that's when he was just like, but then I was thinking to myself, I was just like, how did he come to the conclusion that it was the chef that betrayed him? Like, how did he come to that conclusion? It could have been anybody. But I really do feel like he knew that it was Cain. And I feel like that was a message to Cain that, like, listen, I know it's you. And I want to show you that no matter how close I am to somebody, anybody could get it. But I also feel like he didn't kill Cain because, of course, he's still in love with Monet and he does not want to harm Monet in that way. Like, he doesn't want to, like, you know, kill her child. He still loves Monet pretty deeply, I could tell. By the ring scene, like, he still loves Monet. But, of course, Cain and everybody else don't know that Dante is really Mecca and Dante is really the plug, including Lorenzo. So I wonder how that's going to play out, because once Lorenzo finds out, and you had this man in my face, I mean, even though Monet wasn't the one that purposely had him in their face, and Monet doesn't even know that he's the plug, but still, like, I'm sure that's how Lorenzo's gonna feel. We're at Carrie's house, right? And Carrie gets a text from the dean, and he's like, hey, come to work early tomorrow. We need to talk. So we all know, like, Carrie's gonna get fired. Like, you know, she just left the trial today. Davis just went on the spot for sleeping with, like, everybody and their mama, which I'm not slut shaming before y'all come for me. I know y'all like to tussle. I'm not slut shaming. I'm just saying, like, she did get caught for sleeping with everybody and their mama. So she over here worried, I'm sure crying, drinking, all that extra stuff. And then she gets a knock on the door. I don't know who she thought it was because she answered it pretty excitingly, but lo and behold, it's Monet on the other side. And she's like, Zeke here? And she's like, no, I actually haven't been speaking to Zeke much lately. And Monet come in the house. And that's when she's like, well, today I lost my family. And that's when she was like, oh my gosh, lost your family, how? And I don't think Monet really said it. I think she just was really vague with it. And then that's when Carrie was like, well, I lost everything I knew and loved too, blah, blah, blah. And that's when Monet was like, well, I lost Zeke too. And if he knows that he'd come back to you, he ain't never gonna come back to me. And she just looks at her. So we cut to the next scene. The next scene is Zeke coming in, and I'm assuming he wants to go speak to Carrie. But he can't do that. Why? You may ask. Because he finds Carrie's feet dangling from an apparent suicide. So now it looks like Carrie committed suicide, which I know that she was a little worried about, you know, her getting fired, and she told Monet herself, she was like, I lost my whole career today, and this and that. But I don't think Carrie would have killed herself for it, because if that was the case, Carrie would have been killed herself, you know? So he comes and he sees that, and Zeke is in shock, pretty much, and Zeke is just, he's just literally standing there looking at the dead professor's body, another dead professor, and her feet are literally dangling. Which I get why Monet did it, because she's just all protective of Zeke, and she wants Zeke to be, you know, she wants Zeke to come to her for everything. But in the same token, I feel like she pulled a Cain. That was a really stupid move on Monet's part, because of the fact that now it's gonna look like every person that's around Tariq ends up dead, including the professor that just testified. But it might work, because I'm sure Tariq has an alibi, because if he's still on that ankle monitor, then they will know exactly where he was, so they wouldn't pin it on Tariq, but they will try to find who else did it. And because of that, that is going to lead them back to the Tejada family. And that's my personal opinion on it. Anyways, I'm going to come back with the rest of my opinion when I get dressed and show you guys the finished look. So guys, this is the finished product with my wig on. I wish Tariq the best of luck, even though, you know, when the real power was going on, I wasn't the biggest Tariq fan. But now with everything going on, I'm more against Kane than I am Tariq, and I really hope he can get out of this. But honestly speaking, in my opinion, it's not looking too bright for Tariq. But we'll be back next week to talk about it. And shout out to Love Me Hair for this wig. It was a straight wig, but I decided to put some curls into it. So this is my finished product with my makeup and my face. And excuse this, puberty's kicking in. No, I'm kidding. But you know, you get that time of the month and then your face want to act all crazy. Love Me Hair this is not a sponsor. Like, Love Me Hair has not sponsored this video, but like I said earlier in the video, we're gonna go ahead and speak it into existence because those are the weaves and the wigs I wear. So hopefully one day they will give me a sponsorship. That would be amazing. But let me know in the comments what you thought about this week's episode. I would love to hear you guys' feedback and like banter with you guys about what you guys think and what you guys don't think, what you agreed with, if you guys agreed with anything I said. I would love to know all of that. So I'll talk to you guys later. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Make sure you follow my makeup page on Instagram, and make sure you follow my TikTok. And again, excuse the mess in the back. It's gonna take a while before I'm all the way settled in. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate every single view I get on this video. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.